Well, hello, sports fans, and welcome back to Sports on the Spot. My name is Willie Charger, and hold on, wait a minute. I'm going to start all over. Well, hello, sports fans, and welcome back to Sports on the Spot. My name is Willie Charger, and today our show is going to be a little bit different in that Nick James is not here. He is on special assignment in South Carolina. Not sure what he's doing. I think he might be touring some Civil War battlefields, but that's neither here nor there. The show must go on. And today we have Ronnie and Lenny who are going to be filling in, and they're going to be providing us with their usual knowledgeable insights on the world of sports. Lots of stuff going on in the sports world over the weekend, guys. Is there any one headline that stands out to you, Ron?
I would say no one headline, although, I mean, NFL, the amount of injuries that I think, significant injuries that took place over the weekend. Russ Wilson's banged up now. He's out for a bit. George Kittle's going on IR. Juju Smith-Schuster's out for the season. Clyde Edwards-Helaire looks like he's going to be injured. Obviously, Russ Wilson is the biggest one. And then Trey Lance got injured in his first start. I think the games went kind of as expected for the most part. I don't know if there's really any shocking games. I don't know, maybe Lenny, if you have other thoughts or Willie, but I think they kind of all went chalk this week for the most part.
Yeah, I didn't realize you meant sports headlines. I was just thinking about the yesterday Southwest Airlines canceled 1,000 flights due to air traffic control issues and weather. And that was kind of interesting.
And that is definitely a headline. It may not have anything to do with sports, but it is a big headline. For me, it's not a headline having to do with the NFL. It's all about the NBA. Preseason underway. I'm a little concerned about my LA Lakers. They haven't done very much so far. In fact, they've been pretty pathetic in all 4 games that they played. Not even close in any of the games. Now, some people are saying, yeah, it's only preseason. Don't worry about it. The big 3 haven't played, blah, blah. But there's a little bit cause for concern. Now you got some injuries. Ron mentioned injuries in the NFL. You got Taylor Horton-Tucker, who's now going to have thumb surgery. That's going to keep him out. And, of course, Trevor Ariza already has surgery on his foot. So the AARP Lakers are already starting to get a little bit banged up. We'll be talking more about the NBA when the season starts, but I just wanted to kind of preview a little bit about the Lakers. Let's stop here and send it over to Lenny for his lowdown. I know he has a lot to talk. Take it away, Lenny.
Reading this morning's paper, I ran across an interesting article about a very big challenge facing pro sports, which is that viewership among young people, which is of course critical to the future of pro sports, is steadily declining. Obviously, the question is, why are young people losing interest? Well, as with most things, it's a combination of factors, including a shift away from traditional TV watching to social media and online gaming. But the main culprit, as much as I hate to say this, is the way young people's brains have developed. The problem is that they have increasingly short attention spans. They lack the focus and ability to stay on task, which is a requirement to learn and understand the nuances and intricacies of a sport, which are in turn what makes a sport interesting and worth following. Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, boomer. Fine. Say whatever you want about my generation, but at least we know how to keep our heads in the game. The article I was reading in the paper, and by the way, when I say paper, of course I don't mean that literally. I'm referring to the digital edition of the newspaper. It is interesting that the term paper is stuck even though there's no longer any paper in a newspaper, much in the same way we talk about dialing a phone number, even though phones haven't had dials on them for more than 50 years. I remember using a rotary dial phone as a kid. Now over time, of course, rotary dials were replaced by mechanical buttons and later by on-screen buttons as smartphones came on the scene. You can also use voice commands instead of entering a number manually. Now, if you gave one of these rotary dial phones to a young person today, I doubt he or she or they would even be able to learn how to use it. Not because of a lack of brains, but because of the lack of focus. And that's the real problem with people from Gen Z or whatever it's called. Don't even get me started on how generations are named. Well, we're out of time, but I hope I've been able to provide some clarity on this very important topic.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Lenny. As always, very, very analytical and very, very thought-provoking. Fellas, I wanted to spend some time talking about the NFL. And over the weekend, there were a number of key games that were played. In Cincinnati, you had a situation where neither field goal kicker wanted to win the game the last couple of minutes in overtime. 5 straight misses between the Packer kicker and the Bengal kicker, and it's finally mercifully put to an end when I was going to say Bing Crosby, but no, Mason Crosby. Our viewers probably don't know Bing, but Mason Crosby kicked a 49-yard field goal, I think, in overtime, and the Packers won. Tampa Bay, and especially Tom Brady, proved that they're a team to be reckoned with in the NFC. Can't believe Brady, 411 yards, 5 touchdown passes. They thumped Miami Dolphins 45-17. The Rams came back in the nice bounce back win against Seattle. The big headline on that, as Ron pointed out, was Russ Wilson being injured, and looks like he's got some kind of hand surgery. The Lions remain winless. I feel sorry for them. I don't know how many games they've lost on the last second field goal. It was sad seeing their head coach crying in the post-game conference. Nobody likes to win. I mean, nobody likes to lose, I should say, but that's where the Lions are these days. But I want to start talking today about the Los Angeles Chargers and their big win over the Cleveland Browns over the weekend. Came back from a deficit in the third quarter, trailing 27-13, and won the game 47-42. 4 wins, 1 losses for the Chargers, and given that all the other AFC West teams lost, the Raiders, the Broncos, and also Kansas City, that puts the Chargers atop the AFC division in first place. A lot of places we can turn to explain the Chargers' phenomenal success. Of course, their head coach, young head coach Brandon Staley. The guy's got a lot of confidence in his players. He's very, very bold decision maker. 7 for 7 on 4th down so far this season. And of course, their offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardo, who's got some really good plays in his playbook. Of course, it's all about Justin Herbert, the quarterback. Threw 3 touchdown passes, ran for another one in the game. He's doing so good. 398 yards passing. That's no interceptions. The guy's already being talked about as far as an MVP candidate. He's clutch. He's talented. He's a killer on 3rd downs. I see no ceiling to Herbert. I think right now at his stage in this career, he's better than Pat Mahomes, but not everybody would agree with me on that. And he is a winner. Chargers have won 8 out of the last 9 games that he's played. I think definitely they're going to win the AFC West, and watch for them going far in the playoffs.
Ron, how long do you think he's going to spend talking about the Chargers here? There's other teams out there too. Look.
I think there's only one team in the NFL now.
I guess.
No, the Chargers are good, and I think Herbert's the real deal. I don't know if we should. I'm not a big Mahomes fan, but I don't think it's fair to say he's better than Mahomes until Herbert wins. I was going to say Super Bowl. I'll give him a playoff
in his career.
At this stage, okay, it's fair. It's fair. The Chargers are good. It's still early. I will say, at this point, I have full confidence they'll make the playoffs. Just looking at their schedule, they got a pretty easy schedule coming up and the rest of the way. So honestly, if they don't make the playoffs at this point, it's on them. And the Chiefs are not looking as strong as they used to be. They just have no defense, and if you take them out of the equation, which I still think they'll be around and they'll be competitive, they do have Mahomes, but Chargers are primed. As a Giants fan, I never get too excited about anything, so I'm going to naturally say, calm down, Willie. There's so many more games left, but no, you have a lot to be excited about, and Justin Herbert is the real deal. So,
yeah, I guess. I mean, you can talk about look at the schedule and all these other factors, but hey, guys, at the end of the day, the teams that are going to, get into the playoffs are the ones that put together the best combination of offense and defense. And you're talking about offense, passing, rushing, kicking, even though there's less of kicking in our football than there is in, European football or soccer.
Speaking of kicking, I'm glad you brought that up, Lenny. Speaking of kicking, the Chargers, I think, need a new kicker because that guy couldn't even kick 2 extra points in the game. After a while, they gave up on it and started going for 2-point conversions. But sorry to interrupt you, but you made a very good point bringing up the kicking game, Larry.
Well, kicking's pretty hard because the ball is a weird shape.
Yeah, I'll give you that. And Ron, you mentioned the easy part of the schedule coming up for the Chargers. Keep in mind, they played and defeated some very, very good teams up to this point.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Cleveland's a great team, but Baker Mayfield, I mean, come on, they put up 40 points. They didn't have any turnovers, and still they lost the game. In all of NFL history, whenever that's happened, 463 teams have won while only one has lost, and that team was the Cleveland Browns yesterday. Of course, they also they lost that really close game to the Cowboys. Definitely, they beat Washington. Of course, they beat the Chiefs. Now the Chiefs, maybe they're not looking so great after what happened to them at the hands of the Bills. And that's the other team we have to talk about as far as the AFC is concerned. It's the Buffalo Bills. And I talk about MVP candidates, that guy Josh Allen. He's up there too, right? Right there, Ronnie?
Yeah, I mean it's a Bills Chargers AFC Championship would be a pretty exciting matchup. Josh Allen's incredible. The way he runs with the ball, obviously the throws that he makes, and the Bills, I think their defense has improved a lot, which is why they're finding they're having some more success, especially against a team like Kansas City. I said, I think I said it one more time before. The Chargers, I think they have the more complete team. Although I was going to say, Willie, what's up with giving up 42 points? That's got to be some kind of concern. Obviously, a win's a win, but letting up 42 points, I know the Browns are a good team and they got the best running team in the league probably, but that's got to be a little concerning.
Yeah, that was a little bit concerning, but in the end, you had a guy at the helm who knows how to win games, and our quarterback did it, and their quarterback didn't. So I think Baker Mayfield, he's got to step to move up himself because, as I remember, he kind of threw an interception trying to come back against the Chiefs not too long ago. So it takes a really good quarterback to be able to step up at the end and lead the team to victory, and it's good to have a guy like Herbert on the Chargers. Len, you have any comments?
The quarterback not only has to be a great leader, he's got to be able to throw the ball. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't make completions, you're probably not going to catch that many passes.
That's very, very true. Speaking of making completions and making some good passes, we do have Nick who's going to be giving us his picks for next week's game. So let's send it over to Nick for his Nick's picks.
All right, well, we started off Nick's picks last week with 4-0, picking the Rams, Packers, Cowboys, and the big pick, the Bills, taking out the Chiefs. Let's see what we got this week. A lot of bad teams playing each other, so not a whole lot of exciting games. Here are my 4 picks that I'd roll with. We have Broncos taking out the Raiders. I think Von Miller and that defense are just going to crush the Raiders, especially with all this John Gruden turmoil. We got the Chiefs. They got to get it right sometime, right? We're not used to seeing them 2-3. I think they pull it together against Washington. They're going to be able to outplay Heineke and the Washington defense. Browns, Cardinals. Browns put up 42 points last week against the Chargers. I mean, Cardinals have been playing pretty good, but I think they're going to tighten up that ground game, and the Browns are going to be able to beat the Cardinals, giving them their first loss with that 2-headed monster, Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Finally, we got the night game. Hate rooting for the Steelers, but I don't see how Geno Smith's going to be able to outplay Big Ben. Last week, he came in with a chance to win. Maybe not his fault they lost, but I think that Big Ben and that defense of the Steelers are going to be able to prevail Sunday night. As far as fantasy goes, I'm in a big bind. I need my replacement for Russell Wilson. So who am I looking for? Well, if you're in a deep league like me, I'm looking for either Sam Darnold, might still be available. He's available in a couple of my leagues, or even Carson Wentz. Surprisingly, minus his one game where he got 7 points, Carson Wentz averaged 22 points a game in the other 4. So they're always behind. He's going to be throwing. Not the most ideal replacement, but I think he'll get you by in a pinch right here. As far as tight ends go, I'm on the Goddard and Higbee carousel, where I don't know if they're going to ball out or just barely show up for the game. If you're able to grab Dawson Knox in your league, he might be gone from last week. That's one guy I was able to swoop to kind of mediate that position. And Hunter Henry is still available in a lot of leagues. He's getting a lot of action for the Patriots. So if you can't grab Dawson Knox, Hunter Henry is a good guy I'd be looking out for upcoming this week. I'm pretty much avoiding most Raiders players right now. Darren Waller's a must start, obviously, but it's all going to depend on Derek Carr. If they're just in too much turmoil and other teams are just ganging up on him, Waller's pretty much going to be off the map. And Josh Jacobs, he's been hurt 2 out of his 5 games, did decent in the 3 he played. But if I can, I might be thinking sell high on Waller or Jacobs. If you take a wait and see approach, it might not pay out in the end if you're trying to get rid of them later. But those are my picks. Love them or hate them. Let's see if we can expand on that 4-0.
Okay, we are back, and in the few minutes we have left, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Major League Baseball playoffs, which are in full swing. Over there in the American League, you have the East champion Tampa Bay on the ropes right now against the Boston Red Sox, trailing 2-1 in the best-of-5 series. They're going to have to come back and win 2 in a row if they want to advance. Of course, in the other American League series, you have Houston up 2-1 up against the Chicago White Sox. There you got 2 oldest managers in baseball, 77-year-old Rudy La Russa going up against the youngster, the 73-year-old Dusty Baker. Love that contrast there, right there. And of course, in the National League, you got the Atlanta Braves. We took a 2-1 series lead over the Brewers just this afternoon. Old Jock Peterson came through and hit another pinch hit homer on the ex-Dodger, Jock Peterson. And speaking of the Dodgers, they're locked up in a 1-1 series with the San Francisco Giants, with Game 3 scheduled to be played tonight. Ron, which one of these teams do you think has the inside position as far as making it to the World Series?
Well, I mean, I think I'm taking the low-hanging fruit, but at this point, I'm going to go with Dodgers and Red Sox. The Red Sox obviously have a game up on the Rays, which is why I'm going to say them, just because it's going to be a lot harder for the Rays to come back, especially with the Red Sox playing in Fenway. And I'm, for all intents and purposes, saying that the Dodgers are up 2-1 on the Giants because Scherzer's pitching the next game at home for the Dodgers. With that said, I'll probably be wrong about that, and the Giants end up winning the game. But I would not be surprised at this point to see a Red Sox-Dodgers World Series, which will make MLB very happy. Huge ratings. Let's be honest, that's what the commissioner wants to see. He wants to see 2 big market teams, classic teams like that facing off.
East Coast, West Coast.
Or anything, but I'm going to go Dodgers, Red Sox at this point.
At the end of the day, guys, it's all going to depend on who puts together the best combination of pitching, hitting, base running, and fielding. And of course, the timing has to be right, because if you're ahead by 10 points, you're going to focus more on the fielding probably than the hitting. But still, it's finding the right balance.
So you're not going out on the ledge and actually making any prediction on which.
Hey, you tell me what teams are in the run for it, and I'll tell you which one I favor.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Larry. It's good to see you taking such a bold stance on this issue. I'm looking forward to a Red Sox series, only because here you got 2 teams that do have a lot of history and they do have a lot of tradition. And like Ron said, it's all about ratings, and you're going to get some pretty good ratings between the Red Sox and the Dodgers, as opposed to having some game between, let's say, the Braves and Tampa Bay. I mean, that's not going to be something that's going to really attract a lot of people, except unless you live in Atlanta and Tampa Bay. So I don't know about the odds on that happening. We'll see. Speaking of odds, let's send it over to Ronnie for his rundown so he can give us this weekend's NFL odds. Take it away, Ronnie.
What are you going to do? Another week in the books. We went 2-1, hit the Steelers and the Titans. Things for the Giants didn't work out so well. So anybody who wanted to talk some smack and call me biased, you're more than welcome to do that. But I think you're going to see that's not the case with one of my picks coming up here. So I think we're doing pretty good. So, the week before we went 3-0, this week we went 2-1. And I don't really know what the record is. If anybody is keeping track, please let me know or add a comment. I would be curious to see what the record is so far in the season of the picks. But I feel like we're doing pretty good up to this point. So let's just dive right into it. Picks for this week. I'm going to take Chargers +3 at the Ravens. I don't think I guess it's understandable why the Ravens are favored because they're home, but I don't think the Ravens are very good of a team, and the Chargers are rolling right now. So if we're getting 3 points with that, I'm sure that could end up being a field goal game. But I'll take the 3 for the Chargers there. I'm gonna go Broncos -3.5 at home against the Raiders. The Raiders are a mess right now. You got Gruden. I don't. Who knows what else to say about that? But the Broncos, especially at home, I think are a pretty tough team. I don't think they're an amazing team, but especially at home, the Broncos are a tough team to beat. And with a new coach, who knows what's going on with the Raiders right now? I think they're worth a shot at -3.5. And then lastly, so the spread's not out right now. I don't have a spread available for this game at the moment. I think because Vegas knows that it's such a lock. The Rams against the Giants. So whatever it is, just take it. And I'm saying take the Rams. So anybody who is accusing me of being biased, you know what to do. The Giants are a mess. They stink. The Rams are, in my opinion, the best team in the league. So I would take Rams -100. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, take the Rams. They're going to destroy the Giants. I don't even know what to say about the Giants right now. I mean, that hit Daniel Jones took. I think he thought he was on Mars when he got up from that hit. Poor guy. So hope he's okay and hope everybody else is all right there. And yeah, we'll go Rams and we'll win some money this week. Take care.
Well, thanks, Ronnie. I'm sure that was as good as always. Well, as usual, we were deluged with viewer questions. This time we picked one that has global implications. This question is from our viewer, Liberty Lizardo 19. And Liberty Lizardo 19 asks, now that the NFL has established a presence in Europe, is it time to consider having a team in London? Well, I've got a position on that. What do you guys think?
Well, I don't know about a team in Europe because of the time situation. Just for example, over the weekend, you had the Jets played the Falcons, and that game started here in California, I think maybe around 5 a.m. I read about the score later on. Unless it was a California, there's some Western team playing in London, permanent team. I don't know if that's going to fly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it would only work if there were other teams international, which seems a little far-fetched. I mean, now that would be cool if we had like the global football league, or you have the American conference and then you got the international conference. But I don't really see that happening either. And obviously that's going to saturate the talent level. Yeah, I don't see it happening. I don't think it really makes sense either. But what do you think?
Well, I can solve the problems you guys have raised, and the main one being time zone and also some proximity to other teams. So the solution is this. Yes, definitely put a team in London, Ontario. That solves the problem of time zones and geographic proximity, but you still got a team in London.
Gosh, Larry, you come up with the best solutions to very complex problems. You should be some type of an engineer or something. On that note, we're going to have to end this week's show. I wanted to thank Ron and Len for their provocative comments. Very, very well done. I also wanted to thank the viewers for watching and remind everybody to like and comment, subscribe to our show if they have a chance. If you have a Sports on the Spot question to submit, you can always send it to the sportsonthespot@gmail.com, or just ask the question in the comment section of our YouTube channel and we'll get back to you. That's going to be it for this week's show, and we'll see everybody next time.